It's a lovely sunny morning and we're driving through the Cotswolds on our way to Cirencester to explore the town and do some shopping. I know Cirencester very well, so this will be a great opportunity to show you around and tell you a little of its remarkable history. Hello, welcome to Cirencester, the capital of the Cotswolds. We've just driven through the Cotswolds, an area of outstanding natural beauty, and arrived in Cirencester, which is a fabulous market town right in the centre of the Cotswolds. Lots of main roads converge on Cirencester but don't actually go through, so it's nice and quiet. It's a lovely place to come and do shopping and to explore its fascinating history. So come on, let's go and have a look round. But first, let me give you a glimpse of some of the lovely boutiques and specialist shops. They're tucked along arcades, they're down attractive side streets, the window displays are eye-catching, and everyone is so friendly, welcoming and helpful. But first, let's explore and discover a bit more of Cirencester. We're heading towards the centre of the town, the marketplace, which is dominated by the parish church of St John the Baptist. What you can actually see ahead is the 15th century perpendicular tower and honey-coloured, three-storied stone entrance to the church. This grand south porch, with rooms and offices above, is quite unique and is one of the sights of England. Originally, this was a separate building put here by the abbot of the nearby monastery. He was feudal lord of the manor, and these were his offices, so he was able to oversee the market and collect all the tolls and taxes due to him. The abbey has long gone, destroyed during the reign of Henry VIII in 1539. It's now an impressive entrance to the church, which is the darker stone building behind. Markets continue to be held in front of the church on a Friday, and every other Saturday there is the farmers' market for buying delicious, fresh, local produce. Another part of the church to be built later was the tower, and the funds to build it came from a very gruesome event. In 1399, King Richard II had been deposed by his cousin Henry Bolingbroke, who created himself King Henry IV. The Earls of Kent and Salisbury were making an attempt to restore Richard to his throne. They arrived in Cirencester keen to persuade the townspeople to join their rebellion, but they encountered unexpected opposition. Taking the law into their own hands, the men of Cirencester captured the earls and some supporters and locked them up in the church. The remaining rebels went on the rampage and set fire to houses in the town. This so angered the townspeople that they dragged the earls from the church the next morning and beheaded them in the marketplace, and the severed heads were sent to King Henry in London. As a reward for their loyalty, the king allowed them to keep the earl's treasure, and this enabled a large sum of money to be spent building the tower. Inside, the church is much larger than you'd imagine. It's known as a wool church because the local wool and cloth merchants, who had grown extremely rich from the wool trade, spared no expense funding extensions and embellishing the interiors. Here's the east side of the church with some of its chapels. So do go inside and have a look around and get a guided tour if you possibly can. This is an iconic view looking down Blackjack Street towards the church tower. It is said that the empty niche once had a statue of the church's patron saint in it, St John the Baptist. Now, metalworking used to be an important industry along here, and the heat and soot from the furnaces discoloured and corroded the statue, so much so that it was referred to as Black Jack, and apparently that's how the street acquired its name. As you can see, there are a variety of interesting shops and cafes along here, and at the end of the street is an award-winning museum, and we'll see that a little later on. Behind the church is a large public park with lake known as the Abbey grounds. The very large abbey, which was directly behind the church, was destroyed during the Reformation in 1539, but a display board tells you a bit about it and where it once stood. Although nothing remains of the abbey, one of its gateways is still well preserved, and here it is. For over 800 years, people have been walking through this Norman archway, from carters bringing food and supplies to the Abbey, townsfolk to pilgrims, friars and tradespeople. You can get the sense of a long history. But Cirencester has an even longer history going back to Roman times. In 49 AD, a military fort was built here alongside a military road called the Fossway. Yes, some of it is still in use today. It's still called the Fossway, but it's been buried beneath the modern A429. By the mid-4th century, this was a Roman walled town, and here you can see the remains of the Roman wall that surrounded Corinium, the name the Romans gave to what we now call Cirencester. Corinium was the second largest town in England after London. Hardly anything remains above ground of Roman Cirencester, but the Corinium Museum is a treasure trove. Archaeologists reckon the defensive wall would have stood 6 metres high, with a walkway around the top and stone towers at various points around the wall. There's a good information board at the site, including an artist impression of one of the military gateways. Archaeologists have uncovered the ruins of over 50 Roman villas or farmsteads in the Cotswolds around Cirencester, so the gateway was in constant use for trading in the town. There's a local saying, if you scratch the surface of Gloucestershire, you find Rome. And there's a treasure trove of discoveries in the Corinium Museum, which is at the end of this road. Here it is, the whole building in front of you, and if you take the road to the left towards the church tower, that is Blackjack Street. Do make time to visit the museum if you can. The Roman galleries are impressive, but you also learn about the Cotswolds from prehistory, the Saxon period, the region's prosperous medieval period, and the Cotswold story continues to modern times. A little bit further down the road is the boundary wall and hedge to the Bathurst estate, where you will see the world's largest yew hedge, said now to be over 14 metres high and 4 metres wide at the top, and it was planted around 1710. We're going to turn around now and head back towards the marketplace, because I want to show you the new Brewery Arts Centre, which houses craft workshops. There's artist studios and galleries there. There's also a shop and cafe, so if you're looking for something a little bit special, come and have a look around the centre. So this is a very useful map of the centre of Cirencester. So here we are, here's the marketplace, and just there is the wool market shops. Over here is the corn hall, and here is the amazing church, and behind the church you've got the Abbey grounds and the lake, and then opposite the church you've got Blackjack Street, and that goes all the way down to the Corinium Museum, and the Corinium Museum go down the road, and this is the amazing yew hedge at the edge of the Bathurst estate. This is their stately home, and if you have got time you can go up Cecily Hill and walk through Cirencester Park. It's private land, but they do allow the public to walk through, and it's a lovely walk. And then you can cut back and along Park Street, Silver Street, and get to the new Brewery Arts Centre, which is where I'm standing. And then if I step back a bit and swing round, there is the new Brewery Arts Centre. I hope you have enjoyed your virtual tour of Cirencester and you've been inspired to come and experience this lovely town in person. Don't forget, there is an information centre in the Corinium Museum, should you need any help. And I'm Anne Bartlett, a Blue Badge tour guide, and my website is www.touringexplore.com.